Congressman Crow. He sits on the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees and served as an Army Ranger, received a Bronze Star for his service in Iraq and Afghanistan. Good to have you here, Congressman.
Thanks,
welcome.
Martha.
Do you agree with what Secretary Rubio had to say there?
Well, there's no question that the mission itself, the execution by our military was flawless, and we should applaud that. But the more important questions to me right now are, should we have done this, and what comes next? You know, I am haunted by the ghosts of Iraq and Afghanistan, where those invasions, those military operations initially went flawless as well. But then it was the years later, the trillions of dollars spent, the thousands of American lives, the decades of lost opportunity that followed that were the problem. And the appetite for Americans right now for more nation building, more endless quagmires is almost zero, right? People are struggling with healthcare, their housing, that's where they want our focus.
So let's talk about that. A lot of your colleagues have said in the past that removing Maduro was really a U.S. national security imperative. Let's take a look at some of them. This is Senator Schumer then and now on the issue of whether Maduro should be removed. Watch.
The president brags about his Venezuela policy? Give us a break. He hasn't brought an end to the Maduro regime.
It is reckless. It is dangerous. Whenever our country has gotten involved in this kind of regime change and nation building, American families pay the price.
Chris Murphy has the same kind of then and now comments. And here's President Biden back in the late 80s in an address. Here's what President Biden said.
Let's go after the drug lords where they live with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
So do you agree with all three of them, at least in their early iterations of what they said, that Maduro needed to go?
Absolutely. There's no question that a Venezuela without Maduro is better, but it has to be without the Maduro regime, right? He's been in control for 10 years, and then there's an entire security apparatus, his defense ministers.
So should they have taken them all out at once? Is that what you're arguing?
No, because that goes to the first question, Martha. Is this our responsibility? Do Americans want us to be doing this, to be running and controlling and occupying Venezuela? Is that in our interest? Does that make healthcare cheaper? Does that make housing cheaper? Does that make us stronger as a country? And after 20 years of quagmire and failed nation building—
We don't have anyone on the ground. This operation was less than 2.5 hours long. It's much more similar to what we did with Noriega in Panama, or even what President Obama did with Gaddafi in Libya. This is an extraction operation. He's the head of the snake, and the snake is still there to a certain extent. But isn't it better to remove the head, at least, to start the process?
We don't know that. That's the point.
We've never known it. But the question is whether or not, do you get around to a point where you actually take some action, or do you just talk about it since 1989? As we've just heard many prominent Democrats do.
The Maduro regime, as it was constructed, exists almost in its entirety as we sit here today in Venezuela.
So they should have taken out the whole thing?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
So we should take out no one?
What I'm saying is I don't believe it's in our immediate interest that Americans want us to be engaged in another nation-building quagmire like we have done for 20 years.
You have about 100,000 Americans dying of drug overdose, most of those drugs coming from Venezuela and other places, Colombia certainly as well.
That's actually not true.
It's not true that 100,000 Americans.
The majority of the deaths by drugs in America are the result of meth and fentanyl. Almost none of that comes from Venezuela.
So you're okay with massive amounts of cocaine traffic coming into the United States from Venezuela?
No, I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is if we want a real drug strategy, if we want to stop fentanyl and meth, which is largely what's killing our children and devastating our communities, then we need a real drug strategy to do that. But actually going and deposing a foreign leader and capturing them and now saying we're going to run the country, as Donald Trump just said on Saturday,
he was indicted by the U.S. Justice Department. So we should just not follow through on action and indictments of our own Justice Department to bring him to justice in the United States. Otherwise, what's the point of these sorts of indictments?
That is not at all what I'm saying, right? There are thousands of people who are indicted. But just because somebody is indicted, does that mean that we go and depose a leader and actually say we're going to run a country? Donald Trump on Saturday said very specifically that the United States is going to run Venezuela. that we're going to be in control of it, and we're going to put our oil companies in place.
We didn't leave anyone there. So I think that interpretation It sounds to me that the interpretation is to try to help the oil industry get up and running again, to prevent the drug operation from flowing across. We've seen the early steps of that operation. Also, you've got Iran, China, Cuba. A lot of bad actors are using it as a forward operating base against the United States.
Absolutely, which is part of the problem, because you just said we left nobody on the ground. So the Cubans are still there.
So you said you don't want anyone on the ground. The mistake was that we didn't take out all of the other heads of operation, but you didn't want us to take out Maduro in the first place. So you're saying that there's no threat. There's no threat from this operation.
No, Martha, that's a straw man. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, just because there's a problem does not mean that the solution should be we go in militarily, that we depose a president, and then we now own that problem, and we have to occupy and address it.
Well, he was given many opportunities to go into exile, all of which he refused. So eventually you got to follow through, or your word is worth nothing. If you indict this drug kingpin leader and you never do anything about it, which is what we saw in all the prior administrations, eventually they're laughing at you.
America does not want the United States to be the police force with the world and go after and depose every dictator, every drug kingpin, and have our military constantly involved in conflict and not address the issues that Americans are most concerned about. And they certainly don't want us to be running countries again, which is exactly what Donald Trump says we are going to be doing. So I am deeply concerned, again, for the end game. Would somebody please explain to me, what is the end game here? How does this end? For the Venezuelan people? How do they achieve democracy and good governance?
But they're cheering in the streets.
Absolutely.
They're so happy that this oppressive regime that tortures people in prisons and gives people no human rights. I'm so happy that this individual just got a taste of what the U.S. justice system looks like, because he has been torturing people in prisons for decades.
Absolutely. And they should be cheering in the streets, but I'm concerned for what Donald Trump said about those folks, because the people, the person who those people elected just last year, Machado, is the person that Donald Trump said is not going to be put in charge. Right? The person that has the mandate.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he hopes the end game is, but I think he's doing this methodically in terms of understanding that there are still a lot of bad actors in the country, and you need to sort of follow a process on all of this. But we'll see. We'll see where it all goes. I'd love to talk to you longer, but I've got Maria Salazar also waiting in the wings, and we thank you for coming by.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.